This brief video is to introduce to you what I think is the best modification that you can do to your Paris trucks. This is going to work in your Savants, your V3s. Admittedly, I haven't tried these in V2s, but the pivot hole is almost identical to the V3, so I think it should work. The version 1 Paris are not going to fit this. The version 1 Paris have just a circular hole. But yeah, this is an insert bushing for Paris trucks. Now, you may be familiar with insert bushings from trucks like Rogue. Even my Don't Trip trucks use insert bushings, and many other brands have their own version of this. But what it does is it locks down slop. Slop is any sort of unwanted motion of the hanger, relative to the board and the base plate. You can see that with this in, it really locks the hanger into place. It resists lateral forces. And when I take it out, we can see that just the bushing is responsible for negating any of that lateral play, any of that side-to-side force. And if I want to use a very soft bushing in my trucks, then, I'm depending on like an 80A or an 83A, urethane bushing in order to lock down all the extra motion. Now, that's not ideal. I want to be able to use nice soft bushings, especially in my front truck, but I don't want to sacrifice the precision steering so that I can, accurately anticipate the line I want to take through a corner, or lean a certain amount and not expect my truck to deviate from the turning radius that I'm expecting. And when I say these improve your stability, I'm really not kidding. With my Paris Savants on my Moonshine Spirit, and the very first day I ever put these in, I did a huge downhill session all over Southwest Ohio on these trucks, and I actually believe I hit my top speed ever, longboarding. I've gone 56 miles per hour on my Don't Trip downhill Simons, and that day I believe I went 60 miles an hour on these Paris Savants with this insert bushing, and I genuinely don't think I could have done it without this modification. What this does is it locks down the motion of your truck, it improves your braking force, stability, cornering, and this is the kind of modification that I've been telling people you notice most when you take it out. When you first put it in, it might be hard to detect the differences between this and not using one. It is a little bit subtle, but it's once I remove this from my truck that, after riding for a few months, that I notice, holy cow, my truck feels so much less stable. It feels slower to respond to my inputs. I feel like there's a half-second delay between when I lean the deck and when the board begins to initiate a steering. I noticed that mid-slide, my truck is much more prone to unusual motion, wobbling, and so holding out stand-up slides for longer is more difficult. And especially if you're using grippy wheels with your cash trucks, you're gonna want an insert bushing. Grippy wheels add a lot more force into the system. They, offer more braking force, more cornering force. And if you're just using a truck that just relies on bushings and a pivot for its, slop stopping, I don't think that's gonna be enough for you to get nice, reliable slides, braking force, etc. And it can be a big hang up for people that are trying to step up from free ride wheels to downhill wheels, is that their trucks just don't handle the change very well. So I highly recommend picking these up, giving them a try. Let me know what you think. They're pretty cheap. You can get them on patsrisers.com. And I am going to be honest, I do make profit when you guys buy these. As the designer and tester of these, Pat helped me manufacture them. But this is a product I've been wanting to bring to market for a very long time, and I'm really glad to have Pat's help to do that. So understand that this is kind of a form of advertisement and that I do benefit when you get these, but this is a product that I, stand behind and think is a really, really huge improvement to Paris trucks that lets them, keep up with the innovations that plug barrel bushings and like the Bear and Caliber trucks have done. Now, keep an eye out for Pat's risers because he's going to be designing some more so that you can put this in your Caliber trucks, maybe even your Ray trucks. He's gotten a few responses asking for those. Yeah, it's a cool space, it's a cool technology, and it's really cheap. So pick yourself up some. I highly recommend it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.